Today in crypto, Bitcoin is closing in on a very big move. Falling Bitcoin dominance could finally give altcoins some room to run. The US unemployment numbers are in for the week, and oh man, it is bad news bears. The Fed is getting ready to dump another just ungodly pile of money into the economy, and an unbelievable debt milestone was just crossed. The Crypto Lark. This is where you subscribe for all of the hottest and all of the latest happening out there in crypto land. So let's go ahead here and jump in first and take a look at the charts. Now that Bitcoin ascending triangle breakout, that is looking sweet at the moment. So what we're seeing here is a classic move for a trend confirmation. So we broke out, retested, and now we're sitting just above that triangle, which is very, very nice. Coming back down to test that line of support is a strong move. Now the implied target from here could take us up as high as $10,000. Now this would of course coincide with the coming Bitcoin halving, all the hype that we can expect, hopefully to see building around that if the Corona thing hasn't taken all the air out of the room. But we do need to hold $7,000. Do note here as well, we've had 3 days of basically sideways action for Bitcoin's price, combined with a fall off in trading volume, which really says to me that we are in for a decent move coming up relatively soon. And considering that we are moving up to the edge of that rising wedge that a lot of traders have been watching over the last few days, we really need to break above 7,600 to really invalidate those more bearish sentiments in the market and to add more fuel to the bullish narrative. But if the bears get their way and that rising wedge does indeed play out in their favor, then watch for a decent price correction to come in. But what about you? Where does your bias lie right now in the market? Are you seeing the bear or the bull setup? Now, Bitcoin dominance has broken down from its uptrend that started just around 2 months ago. Now, what that means is that altcoins are likely to have a bit of room to run here, especially if we see dominance falling even further, at least in the short term. Now, although it does seem a bit odd for me to see Bitcoin dominance falling so close to the Bitcoin halving, because I would have thought that we would see a big rush into Bitcoin by all the speculators. We're only around a little more than 30 days out from the Bitcoin halving right now, and I think a lot of people are going to be trying to play that halving hype, which kind of lends a bit of credence to the idea that we could see Bitcoin going up to $10,000 in the coming weeks. But if we zoom out a bit on this dominance chart, we can see that Bitcoin dominance is actually testing support on the weekly. So continuing to support that uptrend that has been in place for more than 2 years. So we might see some short-term rally for altcoins. I don't think that this is going to be an altcoin season, not until this weekly trend actually breaks down and confirms underneath that trend line that has been intact for so long. Now, a thought that I had too was about that influx of new buyers that we've seen coming in over the last month. Remember all those stories that I've been covering about the huge numbers of registrations happening at exchanges and the record buy volume happening at exchanges and all that stuff? Well, those same buyers, they will be starting to hunt for gains. And Bitcoin, for many of them, it's going to be kind of boring. I mean, hey, yeah, great. Bitcoin's up 10% this week. That's freaking amazing, man. But in that same time, Chainlink, it's up 45%. People will be hunting for the altcoins. A big thank you to Crypto.com for sponsoring today's episode. So here is all of the latest from the guys over at Crypto.com. Now they have just added a whole pile of new brands to their 10% crypto back on food promotion that they're doing right now. So if you shop at places like Costco or Whole Foods or Carrefour or Woolworths, there are a few other merchants as well there, then you can get up to 10% back on your purchases. Crypto money in your account as rewards. This is a crazy good deal. Of course, terms and conditions do apply, so check that out, make sure you're eligible for it. But this is a great campaign during the crisis. Also, Crypto.com and Ledger have teamed up so that you can now get 10% crypto back when buying a Ledger hardware wallet. using Crypto.com Pay. And of course, a reminder of the upcoming syndicate event on the 14th of April. You can get an insane 25% off of the market price of Ethereum, which is a great opportunity for the Ethereum stackers out there. And of course, if you want to get signed up for a Crypto.com debit card, you can start earning up to 5% crypto back on every swipe of your card, as well as getting sweet perks like free Netflix, airport lounge access, and a whole bunch of other interesting features. Then click on the link down below where you can get signed up. And as a special bonus, if you reserve a Ruby Red tier card or higher, then you will get $50 in free crypto. These cards are now shipping to the USA, New Zealand, Australia, the UK, and very, very soon coming all across the EU. Okay, so now on to the big news of the day. The US unemployment numbers are in for this week, and wow, they are staggering. 6.6 million new unemployment claims this week, bringing the total since the start of the crisis to nearly 17 million. These numbers are absolutely unprecedented. Now, you would probably think that another 6.6 million unemployment claims would be a bad thing for the markets, but the stock markets, they are up today. It's crazy. Why is this happening? Because the economy is rigged. This is irrational market behavior. This is one of the worst unemployment crises basically ever, probably the worst unemployment crisis ever, and yet the stock markets are up. We are likely to still see a lot of pain coming in the markets, but this free money they keep pumping in, it's crazy. I mean, just seriously, how long can we expect the impact of 17 million people being out of work in the USA to have no impact on the wider markets? And that's just in the first 3 weeks. It's not over yet. But fear not, friends, because the Fed is here to save everyone. The Fed has announced a new program for throwing around money. They're going to provide another $2.3 trillion in support for the economy. Yes, you heard that right. Another $2.3 trillion. That's crazy. I was just saying earlier this week that the trillions that they've already put forward, it's not going to be the end. They're going to put in more. I just didn't expect it to happen so soon, but here it is. Another 2.3 trillion just thrown on the bonfire of the economy. We will probably get another trillion or two more next week or the week after that. More corporate handouts. They just keep throwing the money around. More fiscal insanity. And these new provisions, this new package, it's particularly just perverse and twisted. Why? Because part of this package includes buying junk bonds, aka bonds that are rated below investment grade. And of course, as the name suggests, these are the burning dumpster fires of the bond markets. They're from companies who are struggling financially and face a high risk of defaulting and are unable to pay their interest or to repay their investors. It's crazy. This is a super drastic move from the Fed. And even earlier, they had this just basically equally morally bankrupt announcement to buy up at least investment grade bonds. But now they've thrown that out the window. We'll just take any old garbage that you push our way and give you money for it. It's wild, man. The Fed has basically announced that they will not let any investor fail. No matter how badly and incompetently you ran your company, you will be saved. No matter how crappy your hedge fund and how bad your investments, you will be saved. This is cronyism at its worst. This is not free market capitalism, man. This is craziness. I mean, seriously, if you're not pissed off by what's happening right now, then you are not paying attention. Trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars are getting handed straight over to the banks. They're being used to buy up the worst corporate debt imaginable. It's being used to bail out corporations who spent the last decade buying back shares in order to boost executive bonuses instead of planning for a rainy day. And while the corporations and the banks get trillions of dollars in basically no strings attached money, the average person, they'll get a few little breadcrumbs sprinkled on them, maybe a little bit of a, trickle-down economics, getting peed on from the bankers. You might get a little bit of that if you're lucky, but that's not going to be enough to pay the rent, man, in most major U.S. cities anyway. This virus is just being used as an excuse by these companies to do all sorts of nefarious crap and to just totally loot the country. Again. Free market. It's only just backroom deals and cronyism. It actually reminds me of this great clip from the late, great George Carlin. It's a bit of a long one, but it's well worth the ride, so let's have a quick watch of that.
You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
Oh man, every time I watch that clip, it just cracks me up. We miss you, George. We miss you. You just had this great way of making the absurdity of reality so damn funny. And the final story for today, in case you needed some more inspiration as to why you need to get yourself some Bitcoin, the United States has just crossed over the $24 trillion mark in debt, which doubled, by the way, just in 11 years. The repayments on that debt are $600 billion a year. You need to understand about this debt. It will never be repaid. It will only grow bigger. The options are pay the debt by printing $24 trillion and totally debase the currency even more than it's already being debased, or perhaps have huge tax increases, huge spending cuts, and then take like 2 or 3 decades to actually pay that money back, or of course just ignore the debt for as long as possible until you reach the point where the annual interest payments are actually greater than all tax revenue collected every single year. The entire country will become a debt slave. That could potentially lead to a default of the American economy. Look, the big Western governments, they're all broke. None of them have any savings. There is no magical Wizard of Oz. It's just an old sick dude behind a curtain pretending like he is the master of the universe. It's all smoke and mirrors. The economy, it's a corrupt, broken, sick circus. And it's not just the United States. I know I talk a lot about the United States, but hey, Japan, the UK, the EU, all in the same boat. They're all sick. They're all addicted to the drug of free money. And every time they shoot up, they need to get a little bit more and a little bit more to get that same effect. The Fed and all the central banks, all they're doing, man, they're just chasing that dragon. And they're never going to catch it because the whole system is flawed. Now, taking into account all the insanity, how could you not be mega bullish on Bitcoin? I mean, fiat is not a safe long-term play. And the weaker that these currencies grow via debt, inflation, and manipulation, the stronger the case actually becomes for Bitcoin. There are fundamental flaws in the global economy, and it just keeps getting worse. Anyway, those are just my 2 Satoshis. Thank you so much for watching today's video. And a reminder too that if you are new to crypto and need to get some more info about how to get started, just even the really basic stuff, then check out my course, Cryptocurrency Explained. It will take you through all of those really basic things with step-by-step tutorials, things like buying, sending, storing, mining, all of that stuff and much more. There's a link down below where you can learn more. So your question for today, do you think that all of this money that is being pumped into the economy, that it will actually end up stopping a massive recession or even perhaps a depression from happening? Or are they just delaying the inevitable and potentially making it way, way worse? Would love to know your thoughts on that down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you're having a great day out there wherever you are in the wild, wild world. If you did enjoy today's video, hit that thumbs up button. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.